We'd like to welcome everyone here. This is the 18th Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame Awards Banquet. It started back in 2006 with the first banquet. Got together in 2004. We took 1 year off for COVID, but other than that, we've been going every year at this point in time. So we're very grateful and thankful for everyone to be here. We're extremely proud of our Florence athletic heritage and all our hometown heroes who've entertained and inspired us through all the years. And tonight we will recognize an additional 6, which will bring us up to 133 total inductees and 21 citations after tonight that we've awarded. Those of you that can come out during the other times, we can't do it tonight because there's so many things going on here at the Florence Center, but the Wall of Fame, which shows the plaques of all these individuals and many other memorabilia and other things, posters and that go on, they provided to us, is on the 2nd floor. We're very grateful the Florence Center has provided that as a home for us. So if you're out here and on the 2nd floor you walk around, we actually have added a car for Kel Yarborough in recent time periods is also up there as well. So it's on that floor. We invite you to come and see it. We're in the process of having some discussions about doing some remodeling as well to that particular area. So hopefully you'll take advantage when you come out here and take a look at it, and hopefully you'll enjoy that part of it. Tonight we will introduce you to 6 other outstanding people to join the 2024 class. Before we get to that point in time, I'd like to introduce you to the dedicated members that have volunteered numerous hours for the board of directors here and ask them to stand. Robbie Bridgers, David Caldwell, Shalonda Dees, Sean Ellerby, Latasha Hodge, Gerald Holly, Melissa Gerald, Jacqueline Melton, Derek Urquhart, and Carlos Washington, and our liaison, Missy Burgess Planner. Please give them a hand. We'll have 2 additional members come into next year. Mark Wade and John Rainwater will also join us. Leroy Sanders, who's not able to make it tonight, is also on the board. I want to take a minute to recognize one person individually. A young man that's with us back in 2004, a group of folks got together and decided whether this could happen. We met, we brought in some professional people from the State Hall of Fame boards. Willie Jeffries, Coach Jeffries was mainly involved with a lot. And one of those individuals will be rotating off this year, who's been involved around the times that you have to rotate all since 2004, and he will be rotating after this year. So I'd like for Gerald Holly to please stand and be recognized for all the time and efforts that he has given to this board. Also here tonight is another one of the original 4 people that got together. Coach Scooby Long was another one who's passed away. And also here tonight is Wayne Cato. You can pay me afterwards for calling out your name, whatever we decided on that point. And none of this, I want to point out, none of this would have been possible without our title sponsor of Chick-fil-A. They've been with us since the very beginning. So that makes a very instrumental point. As you can see, a lot of money goes into putting this program on, proceeds, and we will try to make it the best that we can be. We've been highly recommended. We sent out our bylaws and tapes and DVDs to a lot of people around that have started Hall of Fames. Right now, Hartsville is in the process of looking at theirs, modeling from this particular point, and other folks around have done the process as well. So we're very proud of what we've been able to put on with the program tonight. Sorry we got started a few minutes late and everything else, but we'll proceed on from that point in time. So we want to thank Carolina Bank, Event Photos, Kinghorn Insurance, M&M Printing and Graphics, and A1 Medical, the Havacos family, Lawrence Timmons, McLeod Health, PDRTA, Florence County Gamecock Club, and Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company, and then the many past inductees that have also donated to this program tonight and awards banquet. So we thank you, because without their help, it would not be possible. I'll turn the next section over to Missy Burgess Planner. Our liaison is responsible for most of the contact with everybody that's here. Point in time, and she'll go through a lot of other introductions that we'd like to recognize folks that are here with us tonight. And we again thank you and appreciate you taking the time to be here with us.
Hello, good evening. I am going to recognize our past inductees. When I announce your name, please stand. From the class of 2006, Representing Don Hood is Dondi Gardner, Mr. Bobby Jordan, Mrs. Pearl Moore. Representing Joey Walters is his nephew, Avery Murray. And representing Jim Wall is his daughter, Debbie Wall, also with the class of 2014. The next class is from the class of 2009. Representing Major Summerford is Mrs. Beth Frazier. From the class 2010, Mr. Larry Alexander. Representing Lawrence Timmons is his father, Lindsay Timmons, and Mr. Derek Urquhart. From the class of 2011, representing Tammy Durant is her nephew, Trey Green, Richard Sells, Melissa Gerald, and also, once again, representing Tommy Summerford is Beth Frazier. From the class of 2014 is Mr. Anton Brooks, and of course, Miss Debbie Walls. From the class of 2016, David Hanna. The class of 2017, Mr. Michael Hawkins, Mr. Brian Porzio, Mr. Bob Clankanet. From the class of 2018, Nathaniel Skibo Turner, Jr. From the class of 2019, Charles Nelson. From the class of 2020, representing Don H. Gardner is his son, Don D. Gardner. Kermit Moore. From the class of 2022, James Jimmy Weatherford. And from the class of 2023, Christopher Ron Nowlin. Let's all give them a round of applause. I also would like to recognize a few of our dignitaries here tonight. Our Mayor of Florence, Ms. Teresa Irvin Myers. Tricia Calder from Florence School District 1. Councilman Jerry Yarborough, Florence County Council. Allie E. Brooks, our former Florence School District 1, from the Florence School District 1 Superintendent. Also Stuart Porter from Florence School District 1 Board Member. And I would like to also recognize Rex Berman and his staff here. He is the General Manager of the Florence Center. Would you please stand? Thank you.
All right, good evening. I'm Derek Urquhart. I'm one of the past presidents here of this committee, and it's my honor to introduce our MC for the night. Once again, we welcome back Coach Bob Wilson, back for his 7th year as our MC. Bob's a retired teacher, coach, athletic director at all 3 of the local high schools, as well as coaching at Francis Marion University. He's a native of Kentucky. Coach Wilson was a standout at Francis Marion as a basketball player, and following his career was named to the Francis Marion All-Decade team for the 1970s and was later selected to the Patriots Hall of Fame in 2011. As a coach at West Florence, Coach Wilson was an assistant coach on the staff for the 1986 state champion West Florence team. He was later a head coach for West Florence, who was on the 1998 team that finished number 4 in the state. He moved on to Wilson, where he led the Tigers to the 2007 Class 3A state championship. Following that, in 2013, Coach Wilson was named the athletic director at South Florence High School, which he held until 2020. 3 times during his tenure at South Florence, the Bruins received the South Carolina High School League Award for Excellence for Sportsmanship, Ethics, and Integrity. He was also named the Region 6 5-4A Region Athletic Director of the Year by the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association. Please welcome back Coach Bob Wilson.
Thank you, Derek. Welcome back. We're here again. As Derek said, this is my 7th year doing it. Again, it's my pleasure and privilege to serve as your host. We are celebrating with 6 inductees this evening, deserving inductees, as they become members of the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. This is always one of my favorite days of the year because there's never a day where you get so many people in the same place at the same time that had such a significant impact on athletics in the city of Florence. We'd like to thank the committee again for their work in this outstanding class that we are about to induct. They help preserve the history, not only of the athletic legacy of Florence, but help tell the story of the city of Florence itself so that future generations can understand the role that athletics has played in our community. As I mentioned, this is the one place where you can get some of the real heavyweights in Florence athletics over the years at the same place and at the same time. We are one person short this year. As many of you know, Jerry Lee, who was a Florence Athletic Hall of Fame member and former board member, passed away earlier this year. Jerry was always a fixture at this event and other athletic events in Florence, and certainly had a major impact on the individuals in the athletic community in Florence during his lifetime. On a personal note, I always enjoy this evening. This is my 47th year in Florence, South Carolina, and I see people every year that I know in one capacity or another our paths have crossed through athletics. And with the inductees and the honorees, it's very common for me to know these people at this time, and some I even count among personal friends. As we celebrate the 6 new inductees of the Chick-fil-A Florence Hall of Fame, let us all appreciate the role they play in the history of athletic successes in our city, helping set the stage for even more athletic successes for Florence in the future. And again, welcome. I'm glad I could be here with you once again. The first thing we're going to do is recognize our state champion this year in athletics here in Florence. If Derek Urquhart, the coach of the Florence Senior American Legion baseball team, could stand along with his assistants, Zay Paul and Rhodes Dickerson. These guys led the Florence Legion baseball team to a state championship, a 32-6 record. They won the Southeast Regional held in Asheboro, North Carolina, advancing to the American Legion World Series for only the 2nd time ever. At the American Legion World Series held in Shelby, North Carolina, Florence finished 5th in the nation. Now, take in consideration there are over 3,000 American Legion baseball teams in the United States, and our team from Florence finished 5th. So I'd like to give a great hand for Derek and his assistants, their accomplishments this summer. Right now, we're going to have what is called the Citation Award. So if the individuals involved, the presenters of the Citation Award, could come to the front. The Citation Award is given to an individual, team, club, association, school, or commercial institution who has significantly contributed to the promotion of Florence athletics, Citations shall be made in recognition of outstanding achievement or service which has made a lasting impression on the image of Florence and its athletics. We have two recipients of the Citation Award this evening, and as I said, I'm fortunate in that the paths I have crossed in my career involve people like the people who are receiving citations tonight. Both of these individuals work tirelessly for athletics, promoting one thing or another, never doing it for any monetary gain, never doing it for any kind of recognition. They weren't the kind of people who needed pats on the back to get things done. The one thing I will say about both of them is that if you were ever involved in a cause or a project with either one of these recipients, they would never take no for an answer. They were not involved at all in negative thinking, that they didn't want to hear why something couldn't be done because they were in the process of doing it, and you better just jump in and join the wave with them because they were going to get it done. Our first recipient for the Citation Award is Marilynn Belk. And Marilynn will be represented by her daughter, Anna Kate Belk Winsel, and her sons, Eric Belk and Mark Belk. Marilynn was a graduate of Paul Truelock High School in Lake City and attended college in Winthrop and Francis Marion. After graduation, she served at Wilson High School, Mayo High School, South Florence, and Southside Middle School as a teacher. She served as the president of the South Florence High School Booster Club for over 25 years. She also served on the South Florence Association of Parents, Teachers, and Students and was affectionately known as Mama Bruin within the South Florence community. For decades, she coordinated countless school fundraisers, designed football programs, sold ads and Spiritwell, where distributed pocket schedules to local businesses and individuals, promoted the school and the players, provided necessary equipment and resources to athletic programs, and cultivated a positive culture at each school. She was often seen in her blue and gold Dr. Seuss hat supplying cupcakes for athletic teams or working the concession stand at Memorial Stadium, which was named for her by the athletic booster clubs of South Florence, West Florence, and Wilson High Schools for the contributions she made to improve their shared working areas. The new concession stand at South Florence High School now carries her name, and the golf cart that allows school coaches to commute around the school is named Marilynn. Also resulting in Marilynn was actively involved in all her family's athletic endeavors, which also resulted in her planting new shrubbery around the South Florence tennis courts. The Marilynn Belk Memorial Scholarship is given each year due to her giving spirit to deserving South Florence students. Marilynn was equally dedicated to the Florence community, and for her efforts, she was recognized as Citizen of the Month by the Florence City Council in 2012. She also served as a volunteer board member on the City of Florence Parks and Recreations Commission. For the positive impact made in the Florence athletic community and for the legacy she continues to create, the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame proudly recognizes Marilynn Belk with their 2024 Citation Award. Our next Citation Award recipient is Jerry Nettles. Jerry will be represented by his son Jay Nettles and daughter Cameron Nettles McHugh. Jerry was a graduate of Somerville High School where he played quarterback for Hall of Fame head coach John McKissick. He then went to the Citadel to play college football where his team as a senior led the nation in offense, and he was awarded the most valuable player at the Tangerine Bowl. Jerry was a pillar in the PD region for over 4 decades. He was the owner of the PD Sportsman Shop that opened in 1971 and was a leader in South Carolina and sold all over the East Coast. He ran the PD quarterback school for over 30 years, and a past student played on the Georgia Tech National Championship team. He supported the local athletic community through team sales, sponsorships, and jobs while privately providing financial support to local athletes in need. He hosted Francis Marion teams at his home numerous times and helped raise monies for local athletic facilities. A few of his contributions included helping start the James F. Burns football program. He co-signed the financial note that helped start the Florence Junior Football League. He paid for the fencing that surrounds the West Florence Athletic Facility. He paid for the fencing for the Dixie Boys baseball field at McLeod Park and served as president for 2 years. He aided in the installation of baseball field lights at Royal School. He helped in the care of the school facilities and often let his equipment be borrowed by the school for the care of their fields. For his contributions to athletics in the Florence community, the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame proudly recognizes Jerry Nettles with their 2024 Citation Award. As we move ahead with our program, it's my pleasure to introduce our featured speaker this evening. Our featured speaker is Florence native Eugene Brooks. Eugene is the Director of Diversity Marketing for the Atlanta Braves. He has an impressive background in entertainment marketing, working with various media companies, creating and producing events starring Lionel Richie, Mary J. Blige, Beyonce and Jay-Z, and countless others. A graduate of South Florence High School, the South Carolina Governor's School for the Arts, and the University of South Carolina, Eugene is responsible for marketing the Atlanta Braves across diverse markets, creating events with entertainers, as well as providing opportunities to engage with the Atlanta Braves brand. Eugene serves on the board of the Metro Atlanta YMCA, the Atlanta chapter of the Grammy Awards, and is a member of the Atlanta Sports Council. In his downtime, Eugene is an avid golfer and enjoys spending time with his 3 children, Haley Elizabeth, Allison Elise, and Allie Eugene IV, also known as Drew. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker, Eugene Brooks.
Good evening, everybody. We family here. Good evening. Good evening. All right. We had 5 people say good evening, but that's okay. I'll go and take that. Let me first begin by thanking Rocky Rykovich for having me here, Missy Planner, and the Chick-fil-A Florence Hall of Fame Committee for affording me the opportunity to share a few words with you. I would like to say congratulations to the inductees tonight, Coach Kevin Allen, Coach Billy Andrews, Akeem Bostick, Malliciah Goodman. Even though you are a Tiger, I'm a Gamecock, but I'll go and give it to you. Bubba, Strickland, and late great Thomas Webb. I want to take this liberty to thank my parents, Dr. Allie Brooks Jr. and Barbara Brooks, and my children, Haley, Allison, and Drew, for being here with me this evening. Your support means a lot, and Dad loves you, and I love you too as much. I have fond memories growing up here. As I look out, I see many people who I've been taught by, people that my dad was going to church or going to school, and people that probably have wanted to probably beat me as well. But so, hey y'all, I'm here. First of all, I was born as a knight. I was raised as a tiger, but then I went into the den and I came out as a Bruin. So I want to make sure I acknowledged all 3 that I was here. You know, I remember before you had to ask a girl out around here, you had to say like who your people are before you think you were related. So I remember that. I remember going to 301 Drive-In, and that was a treat. To this day, I hit that when I come in town. Go to Drive-In one day, 2-piece chicken box, fries and onion rings, and the salad and the clarinet. Rogers the next day with the rib plate with chicken bog, butter beans, and squash. And then I'll hit the Sunday house somewhere in the middle. My first job was at Magnolia Mall at Chick-fil-A with David Pate. I started my radio career here in the summers working for Olive Williams and WYNN, so I'm very thankful for them. After I graduated from high school and graduated from college, I told my mom and dad that I wanted to move to Atlanta. You do know how that went. We had a family meeting. And so I called my cousin Gina, and I said, who went to South Florence, who's from here as well. I said, hey, Gina, I want to move to Atlanta. I said, I don't have any kind of money, but I'll cook and I'll clean as long as you let me stay there. She said, okay, sure. That was my rent. Well, I moved in there, and then after a while, she decided to get pregnant. So then my mom and dad said, well, Eugene, you need to move out. So I called my cousin, I talked to my cousin, I said, hey, we need to have a family meeting. She said, what? I said, well, I gotta move out. She said, well, why? You pregnant. So that's no space. She was like, so she calls my mother and begins to say some choice words and says, why does he have to move out? My mom said, because you're pregnant. Well, she said, who gonna cook? So, so that was really fun. Then after that, I started working for KISS 104 there. Then I started working for V103. Then I started working for the Atlanta Falcons and the Hawks. And yes, as Coach Wilson said, yes, I've worked with a lot of people. It's a lot of fun, but I take Florence with me everywhere I go. When Missy Planter asked me to speak several months ago, I said, now what am I going to say to these Hall of Fame inductees, teachers and family and people I went around with? I said, well, how long did my dad speak? Well, your dad. I said, I'm not my father. Let's be very clear. I said, but I'll figure out some couple of words that I can say that may mean something to these distinguished gentlemen. As I began talking about and thinking about what I wanted to say, there's several themes that kind of came out for me. One was, you can't have progress without the process. I think a little backstory is I started to cook. So I started baking. As I started baking, I began understanding that as you bake, that there's a process in baking a cake. Not going to the store, but baking a cake at home. Certain lessons, such as far as you have to set the butter out and let it get softened at room temperature. You can't melt the butter. You have to sift the flour. You have to find out how much sugar you're going to get, how much cream you're going to do, how you're going to let it spin, and all these different things. So as I began putting that together, I thought about each of these inductees, and they're their very own little cake. Think about how many times they had to sift out to get the best plays. Think about how many times they had to soften their touch on players to get the best out of them. Think about how long they had to cook, basically to make sure that the player came out just right. So you think about all those things, and it's like, that's a simple way of trying to encapsulate what these coaches and what these players mean. As you think about that, I think the worst thing that was ever created, I'll say this today's day, but was the microwave. In this day of age, we want everything fast, quick, fast, in a hurry. We want to let things sit, let things warm. We don't want to let it cook right because it gets hot, right? So what happens is now you've got the Instapot. You got the air fryer. You got all these different things to cook quick. But the thing about it is, does the heat last? Does the flavor last? And I think in this day and age, we are always trying to figure out quick ways to become quicker, become faster, make things taste better. I coach kids in football along with my son at his school, and one thing that they always want to do is get the brand new shoes, get gloves and gear that they call, as active older adults, people, I'm gonna let y'all know the word, it's called drip. They want to have all this stuff that they think is gonna make them play better. My son wanted some receiver gloves, and I was like, okay, but can you catch? The gloves ain't gonna catch the ball. The hand gotta catch the ball. I said, so what are you gonna do once it gets wet? He goes, well, I'll take the gloves off, because you have to use your hands. So I remember when I told my mom and dad that there was this time where I was watching TV, and this is old school, but there was a commercial that came on called sneakers called Zips. It said you can go outside and you can draw a Z in the grass, and then all of a sudden you run faster. I went to my mom and dad and said, Mom, I want some Zips because I want to be able to run fast. She said, okay. Well, I got food and they fooled me. I got my husky self out there with some new Zips, started drawing a Z in the grass, and huffing and puffing, and ended up being last in the race. My oldest daughter's baking now, and so I'm very proud of her because she's learning the process of what it takes to be successful. My middle daughter, she's the actress. Every time I pick up a phone, she has a to-do or how to put on lip gloss, how to use gum, and all this kind of stuff, and taking up all my memory on my phone. But the important part I want to get across is that we have to understand the process. There's no quick way to success. No way. You gotta do the work. You have to have a strong work ethic. And I think as a community, what I'm very proud of as this Florence community as I've seen is that we're able to come together and make the best out of people. We care about people. Yes, it's hard sometimes. But at the end of the day, the goal is about what legacy are we trying to leave for these kids? What are we trying to get across? This past season, I was able to witness it being a part of a great season. Yes, we fell short. Thank you. We fell short. It was very hurt. That was my first season, so I was really excited about it. But one thing that was very eye-opening to me was that I would watch Ron Washington, who's now the coach for the Anaheim Angels, and he would do drills with Ozzie Albies and Matt Olson, Austin Riley, and Orlando Arcia. And these are elite athletes doing basic steps to be the best they could be. Locating the ball, body placement, location of the glove, over and over and over and over. And just like these inductees here, they were drills that they taught their students to be successful. I'm sure Malliciah and the late great Thomas Webb had their moments where they didn't want to run another gasser. I'm sure Akeem didn't want to pitch another pitch. I'm sure Billy Andrews didn't want to teach another kid how to dribble a soccer ball. And I'm sure Kevin Allen got tired of seeing players miss shots. But in all of these processes, it got them to where they are today. Again, the process is important. One thing I would like to share with the room is that I want young people in the room, and all active older adults and those that says, start reading, read more. I've lately had this desire to read a lot more. My mom and dad would always give me books to read, and they just sit up there and collect dust, because I was like, I don't need to read another book. But at the end of the day, reading is where we get fundamentals and gain knowledge. There's a book that I'm very fond of and I really love to death, and it's called The Soul of a Team. It was done by Coach Dungy, Tony Dungy. And he and I have had several opportunities to have conversations, and I went back to his book to try to find something in here as well to say, and soul stands for this. S, selflessness, putting your own individual goals aside for the sake of the team. Ownership, own your role. Everyone's role is significant no matter what you do. You're an important part of the team, and you have to know your job backward and forward to do the job at hand 100% of the time. Too many times we're plagued with looking at other people and wondering how they got the job and what something that they said instead of focusing on their job. Do your job. Unity. This is a team sport. If you want to win, you have to be on the same page and working toward the same goals. It's not about everyone getting along, but it's also about making sure everyone feels included, valued, and contributing for the larger purpose, which leads to the L, larger purpose. It encapsulates everything the team is trying to accomplish, why it exists, what it stands for, and it's something beyond trophies and signing bonuses. It's what drives you to what gives meaning and significance to what you do every day. And each and every one of these inductees exemplifies these characteristics. They're all selfless in their time with teammates and coaching, ownership of themselves and their program, work to unify their team, school, and community, and we're all in touch with their larger purpose. One last thing I would like to say to the attendees and the students in the room is that we all have a choice to make. Do we want to be ordinary or extraordinary? The fundamental difference between ordinary and extraordinary is one word: extra. It is so simple, but people miss that part. We all have the opportunity to be extraordinary, but the question is, are you willing to walk away from here to do the extra work to get there? This is regardless of your profession. We have an individual choice to decide who we want to be, what kind of impact we want to make in regards to our families, teams, and communities. Let's be clear. These Hall of Fame recipients have done an exceptional job, and I salute each and every one of you for your contributions. Thank you, and most importantly, go Braves.
Thank you, Eugene, for those inspirational words. At this time, Porter Stewart will be delivering our invocation.
Thank you, Eugene. And I think having come back to Florence from Atlanta, we could certainly give you the new nickname Chip. You certainly are a chip off the block and a credit to your family, and we certainly appreciate your remarks. Thank you, and it's nice to make your acquaintance. As I stand here, Happy New Year, number one, and as we lead into the invocation, I'd like to just read from Hebrews 12:1, a part of that verse, which reads, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." And I thought that most appropriate tonight, the theme of the race, but also to persevere. But more importantly, what strikes me in those few words is the race marked out for us. So it's not purposelessness, it's not randomness, it's perseverance within a course marked out for us. There's purposefulness in life. There are callings that we all have and talents that we bring to the table. And tonight we celebrate those callings and those talents in the inductees and those who have preceded them, who earlier were recognized as well. But within the context of that which we're called to do in this world, certainly the opportunities that we recognize tonight are important as learning opportunities and as expressions of those gifts that God has given to us. But the perseverance and the purposefulness within the course is that we measure what we do in a way that's to the glory of something larger than we ourselves, and ultimately leads to the greater good. And I think it most appropriate as we enter into 2024, an election year, with so much acrimony and so much egotism rampant throughout the airwaves, that we among ourselves might pause in our perseverance and with the measured courses that we find ourselves in within our daily lives, and would take time to be decent human beings looking out for the best interests of each other. So in that spirit, if you'll join me in tonight's invocation. Our Father in heaven, I thank you for this occasion, for the work and dedication of the committee that faithfully continues this work and continues to make these events possible. Thank you for their dedication and community spirit. We also give thanks for those who are being recognized and for their families and the support which they have had over the years, and for the leadership which they exercise within the context of those activities and throughout their lives. May their examples be an inspiration to those who follow them. And for those also here to attend, I pray for you, for your safety as you came tonight and as you continue from here and throughout the year. And now, Father, I would ask that you bless us through their nourishment, us to your service. It's in Christ's name that I pray. Amen.
Our first inductee is a Golden Era inductee, and he is a prime example of the Florence Hall of Fame, preserving the history of athletics in Florence and in South Carolina. This inductee was a graduate of Florence High School, where he was an outstanding football player. Holding the record for the longest interception in Florence High School history at 99 yards, he also played in the inaugural Tobacco Bowl in Florence County in 1940, as well as the East-West All-Star Game in Columbia in 1941. As a college football player at Appalachian State, he was an all-conference linebacker, leading his team to 2 conference championships. Following college, this inductee served in the United States Navy in both World War II and Korea, and later became a school administrator in North Carolina at the base military schools at Camp Lejeune in Jacksonville, North Carolina. It is our pleasure and honor to award Thomas Cook Webb as a 2020 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame Golden Era inductee. Mr. Webb's family was unable to be in attendance this evening, but he is our first inductee. So let's give Mr. Webb a nice round of applause. At this time, will Sean Ellerby of Carolina Bank please come to the stage? Our next inductee to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame is a graduate of Columbia High School and the University of South Carolina, who began his coaching career at West Florence High School in 1979. During his coaching career, he served as a head coach in girls track and girls basketball at West Florence and as a head football coach at Sneed Middle School. During his career, he was also an assistant coach for the West Florence varsity football and varsity baseball teams. As head coach for the Lady Knights in basketball, this inductee's teams won 365 games, and he received numerous awards and accolades in his 29-year tenure, including twice being named Region Coach of the Year, as well as serving as head coach for the North-South All-Star Game and the North Carolina-South Carolina Challenge All-Star Game. His greatest impact, however, lies beyond the wins and losses. We all have the choice to see that glass of water half full or half empty. And I can say with all honesty, this inductee is the most positive, half full coach I have ever encountered. And his positive dealings with kids from the time he was teaching them the very basics of sports in his PE classes at Royal Elementary, and watching them grow and develop from elementary school through middle school and high school, these athletes knew they had a coach that supported and believed in him. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Kevin Allen.
Thanks, Bob. Do what? Oh, yeah, I'm getting, just because you're taller than I am. Well, first, I'd just like to thank the good Lord and Savior for getting me to this point. Because when I first started coaching, I felt like I knew everything. I felt like I could do it all. And over the years, including even right now, He keeps reminding me that He's in charge. And thank goodness He is. I'd like to thank the Board of Directors of the Florence Athletic Hall of Fame and Chick-fil-A for this honor. And I'm appreciative to all the other people that are here, and I'm congratulating these other inductees. In fact, there's two that are mentioned, Malliciah Goodman and Akeem Bostick. Malliciah, I coached in junior high football, which was a great experience for me because how many big kids you know that big when they're in the 8th grade? And then Akeem played baseball for me at West Florence on the JV team. Unfortunately, I only got to coach him 2 games because Coach Clank moved him up to the varsity. My name goes with this honor, but to be honest with you, it's the coaches and the assistants, players, and all the support staff that work with me that actually earned this. I was just the head coach. I'd like to thank my wife, Penny, for everything she's done, because without her, I'd never got to this point either. She kept the kids straight. I mean, when you got youngins and you're coaching, and you guys that are out there that were coaches or still are coaches, you know what I'm talking about. Your hours are, there is no hours, you're there. She took care of them until they got old enough to go to practice, and then unfortunately they came along with me for all the rides. But I would like to thank her for everything she's done, because honey, I love you, and I'm just real thankful. I'd like to thank my sons. They have turned out to be great fathers and great men and good Christian attitudes. And I want to thank them for one of their greatest gifts. They gave me 2 wonderful bonus daughters in Brianna and in Holly. I'm so thankful because they in turn gave me my 5 great, wonderful grands, Malliciah, me, Grace, Eli, Abel, and Riker. I was fortunate to have some great mentors as a coach. In football, because I coached football also, my mentors were Wayne Cato, Neville Files, Trey Woodbury, great leaders. In basketball, I worked under Tommy Johnson and Bob Wilson. Yeah, even though I was on the girls' side too, we'd constantly talk, but they were great mentors. I only had one mentor in baseball, and that was Bob Plankeneck. And the one thing these gentlemen did for me is they showed me what you needed to be successful. And you got to have great players. That's without a doubt. But each of them surrounded themselves with great people, whether they were people support staff or assistant coaches, but they surrounded themselves with good people. I still remember Coach Clank, and he still tells me this: good things happen to people who work hard. And I've continued to try to work hard. I was fortunate to have good people that we called our support staff back then. It might be parents, it might be somebody to help with our basketball program. And I was fortunate enough to have some really good ones to help us out. I had assistant coaches, and many over the period of time, but 2 that stood out was Grace Miller and Charlene Williams, who are to this day like my daughters. But they knew what we went through. So it was great for them, because when practice started, as coaches, those girls, they knew how to respond because they saw how these 2 coaches worked. Alex Smith, who's currently the head coach at Blue Ridge, and Russ Renishevsky's a head coach at Hilton Head, both coached with me also. But the example is these 4 coaches and the many before bought into the system we did because we worked together. And then we incorporated the players who we worked together. And because of what those previous mentors I had taught me about having good people, it made a big difference. Of course, now I have 6 Saturdays and a Sunday every week, so I don't really worry about a whole lot. As I looked at the past inductees on the web page, I saw athletes I coached, I taught. I mean, there's a couple on there I taught in kindergarten. And I saw coaches and friends that are acquaintances. The one thing I want to say, though, to go along with all this, is that I surrounded myself with good people throughout my coaching, and now I'm finishing surrounded by a bunch of good people. Thank you.
Will Blake Pate of the David McLeod Chick-fil-A please come to the stage? Our next inductee to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame is truly a pioneer in high school soccer, not only in Florence and the PD area, but also in the state of South Carolina. A 20-time Region Coach of the Year, whose teams have qualified for the state playoffs 40 times, his 620 wins rank 2nd all-time in the state of South Carolina. For these and other contributions, this inductee was inducted into the South Carolina High School Coaches Hall of Fame in 2023. When he began his high school coaching career in 1977, high school soccer in the PD area was almost non-existent, meaning his West Florence teams had to travel the state for matches. Beyond the wins and accolades, this inductee's legacy is one of the major forces in the development and popularity of high school soccer in the state of South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Billy Andrews.
You can work. I would be the one to do this to you. You need to. Do better. That's all we'll do. That's what Good evening. It's an honor to receive this recognition. My tenure as the first and current, I'm still coaching, current varsity soccer coach at West Florence would not have been possible without the support of my family. I truly love them all. My wife, my son, my daughter-in-law, my grandchildren, Riel and Brett Jr. and Bentley, and I love them all, but it would not have happened without their support. I also been blessed by God with continuing good health that has allowed me to coach for number 46 years, year 46 coming up on Monday. My life has been enriched through the experience of guiding these players both on and off the field. I have coached multiple generations. I can look out in the audience now and see some people I've coached, and they are doctors and lawyers and teachers, and I've coached their sons, okay? And it's been my privilege. It's something I have enjoyed doing. It has kept me young. And I've taught a lot of students out here in my class. I teach middle school, and I've taught a lot of them. And I see them in the classroom, I see them on the field, and they have grown so much. It's been a joy to see how discipline instilled as athletes has contributed to the success of the players as adults. Thank you for the award. I am humbled to be among others who have come before me. Thank you.
Will Noah Trammell of the Irby Street Chick-fil-A please come to the stage? Our next inductee to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame has been described as a player that was made for the big moments. A 2013 graduate of West Florence High School, he was a two-time All-Region player in football, as well as a two-time WPDE All-Zone football team member, but was even more impressive in baseball. A two-way player, this inductee was All-Conference and All-State in baseball, hitting .410 with 30 stolen bases to go along with a 9-0 pitching record with 82 strikeouts and a 0.56 ERA his senior year. No moment, whether at the plate or the mound, was too big for him. For these accomplishments, he was named 4A Player of the Year in South Carolina as a senior. After high school, this inductee was drafted in the second round of the Major League Baseball draft, the 62nd overall pick, and playing on multiple levels in Major League Baseball minor leagues, and has played at the Major League level with the New York Mets in 2021. He is currently playing with the Sioux Falls Canaries of the American Association of Professional Baseball, an MLB partner league. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Akeem Bostick. Akeem was unable to be here this evening. Speaking on his behalf and accepting the award is Randy Hart.
Good evening. My name is Randy Hartz, and Akeem asked me to read some words that he put down on paper that I got just a little while ago. And so I apologize for reading off of the paper, but I'll do my best here to convey his words to you. Thank you to the committee for selecting me to join such an elite group of athletes and coaches. I am truly both honored and humbled. I sincerely want to apologize for my absence tonight because I would love nothing more than to be there in person to offer my congratulations to my fellow Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductees, both present and past. This is absolutely a great honor. However, as most of you know, I am still currently playing baseball, and God has recently provided me with some new opportunities to possibly further my career. I have a couple of pro days coming up that I am in the midst of preparing for down in Texas. I recently was also a part of a brand new professional baseball league in the Middle East and South Asia. It's called Baseball United, and I will be taking part in that as well. With that being said, wow, it's just an amazing honor and privilege to be named amongst the greatest athletes in the history of City of Florence. If anyone would have asked me at a young age if I thought I could be a part of such an elite group of people, honestly, I would have answered yes. For those of you who know Akeem, he was never short of just full of confidence, always. However, I realized that even being mentioned amongst the caliber of former players and coaches in this group is no small feat. And it took each and every one of us many days of hard work. Everyone who came before me and those being inducted here today have all made many sacrifices in order to achieve the excellence in their respective sports. As a kid watching Hall of Fame inductions of various athletes throughout the years on TV, I always wondered what it took to become notable for them to stand above the rest. I now know personally that it takes passion, a passion that drives you to wake up each and every day, and it makes you want to find ways to get better and challenge yourself. It also takes consistency, and by that I mean that you consistently must work hard enough every day to outwork everyone else around you who is trying to become better than you are. You also have to be willing to listen to the critique that's given to you about every aspect of your game and be willing to make positive changes in order to create the ultimate formula for greatness. And finally, it takes pure will. If you can't drive yourself to the limit on those days when you don't feel like doing it, you're simply never going to reach the top of your craft. The next thing I want to share is my gratitude for several people. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for blessing me with such amazing health and for giving me a set of skills that has helped me to create my lane for success. Next, I'd like to thank my mother, Linda, for instilling in me the importance of not only believing in myself, but giving me a strong work ethic. Because with those two things, she told me that I could accomplish anything I wanted to in life. She also introduced me to God at an early age, and together, those two things became the staple of my support system and a huge reason why my name is being honored here tonight. Thank you, Mom. I love you. It's hard for me to read. Sorry. The next person I want to thank is Randy. For those of you who don't know our history, he first noticed me in 2001 when I was a 5-year-old playing baseball at Maple Park. He told me that he saw something in me that I wouldn't see in myself for many, many years later to come. And from that day forward, he pretty much became a mentor and took me under his wing and all but adopted me into his family, where I would live on weekends, spring breaks, through the summers, until the day that I graduated from high school and heard my name called in the 2013 Major League Baseball draft and was off to Arizona. Many of you might not know that I almost gave up baseball when I was entering the 9th grade. And my mother and Randy were the ones that helped to talk me out of that. I'll stop and give my own words for a second here. I could tell Akeem was getting burned out a little bit. He was playing year-round all the time. You're 13, 14. You want to be with your friends. You see them having fun, playing video games, going to the mall and all that. So I told him, you know what? Take a break. Take all the time you need. I didn't force him to come back to it. He had to figure that out on his own. What he did do was he took a week off. I took the travel ball team that I was coaching without him to Columbia to play in a tournament. Between video games that day, he was watching the computer and he saw that we had lost a couple of very close one-run games. And he called me that night and he asked if he could join the team on Sunday. Would I come home and pick him up? So I did. Long story short, Akeem joined us in Columbia. He says that he could see in the eyes of his teammates how excited they were and how missed he had been, and got together with them, and they knew what faced them that day if they wanted to win a championship, which they did proceed to do, and Akeem did become the winning pitcher of the championship game. He says, I knew they were good without me, but I couldn't figure out why they didn't play like it that day, so I felt horrible. And from that day forward, I knew I never wanted to let my teammates down again, and I wanted to strive for greatness from there on out. I'd also like to thank my outstanding wife, Victoria, who travels with me everywhere on the road throughout my professional career and has stayed with me through some very difficult times. She is my rock. And finally, I'd like to thank all of the amazing coaches, mentors, and teammates that I've had throughout the years that had a hand in helping to mold me into the player and the man that you're honoring today. I appreciate you all for attending, and I want to give you a heartfelt thank you to all of Florence for giving a small-town kid this historic memory, which will live with me forever. Thank you.
Will Alex Holbrook of McLeod Health please come to the stage? Known as a player that led his teammates by example and let his play do the talking, our next inductee to the 2024 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame was one of the most dominant and decorated football players to come out of Florence. A 2008 graduate of West Florence High School and a 2012 graduate of Clemson University, he received numerous awards and accolades in high school, including finalist for Mr. Football in South Carolina, Parade All-American, EA Sports All-American, participant for the South Carolina team in the Shrine Bowl, and participant in the U.S. Army All-America Bowl, where he served as a team captain. At Clemson University, this inductee was a 4-year letterman and is tied for second place in the number of games played for the Tigers, as well as third in career fumbles caused. After college, this inductee was drafted in the 4th round by the Atlanta Falcons and played in the NFL 4 years with the Falcons, Seattle Seahawks, and Jacksonville Jaguars. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2024 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Malliciah Goodman.
Turn on and face the camera. Get it?
So, good evening. Could y'all hear me good? Because I ain't the best at public speaking. First, I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity, the ability to play football. I want to thank my family for their huge role in supporting me. Even though I was, sometimes still I am, stubborn, hard-headed, but they always find a way to continue to push me and support me along the way. I also like to thank my coaches, friends, and the Florence Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, and those who supported me throughout the years. It's such an honor to be recognized on the stage, of course, along with Coach Allen. I remember signing up for football in the 8th grade, and Coach Allen convinced my mom to let me play football. My mom didn't want her baby to get hurt, so Coach Allen did a good job at selling it, and the rest is history. I believe I started off at tight end / defensive end, but once they found out how good or maybe not good I can catch, I stuck at DN, and I stayed there for the rest of my career. I moved on to West Florence High School, where I was coached by head coach Trey Woodbury and D-line coach Tony Moore. Woodbury and Timo, along with other coaches, have done so much over the years in preparing me and making me the best and pushing me to be the best athlete and to be the best on and off the field that I could be. Timo got a new bionic knee 2 days ago, and he's here, so hobbling around, so I'm glad to see him here making that sacrifice to be here. Not gonna lie, there's been many moments throughout my journey, throughout my years at West Florence, where I thought about quitting. We had 3 days my freshman year, running gassers, just getting injured, getting beat up, running around with my teammates, and man, things were hard, and it was tough. And there's been moments where I was just like, man, is this for me? But I stuck through it, and it paid off. I saw my old teammates, Trey Green and Avery Murray here. Those are 2 guys I competed with day in and day out. They pushed me to be the best, and I thank them for being here. Also, my best friend, Sydney. Me and Sydney became brothers on the football field. We competed for the same tackles, the same sacks, sometimes the same last piece of pizza at CC's or the last cinnamon roll. But through through football, I've built so many relationships. Even though they're not family, they became family to me, and these teammates, coaches, and all who supported me throughout the years. After high school, although I became successful after high school, it would not have been possible without the foundation established here in Florence. From joining Boy Scout Troop 475, a lot of them came out tonight to support me. I thank y'all for that. To the many members in the community, as well as others, I've learned so much in being a teammate, friend, and leader. Also to be selfless and accountable for my actions. I learned to work together with people who didn't look like me, talk like me, or even share the same interests as me. What we did share in common was our commitment to growing, our commitment to success, and the commitment to be the best. As the old proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child, and it really does. I've had many people throughout my journey who have invested in me, who have made sacrifices and pushed me to be the best and be the greatest, and I'm so grateful for them. So those of you who took the time to push me, to coach me, to mentor me, to help me, hold me, and keep me accountable, keep me honest, I thank you. They demanded nothing but my best, and I mean, that's what they got. I became a great athlete, I became a great person, I became a great leader in the community, as well as going to Clemson, doing a lot of community service stuff, going to Atlanta, and being involved with the community there. All that was established because of what happened in Florence. It wouldn't have been possible without establishing those roots. So once again, I want to thank all who've come out to support me. I want to thank the Florence Athletic Hall of Fame committee for inducting me into this year, and I'm be forever grateful to be among the greats. Thank you.
Will Chris Timmons of the Magnolia Mall Chick-fil-A please come to the stage? Our next inductee to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame is a 1999 graduate of South Florence High School and a 2003 graduate of Francis Marion University. At South Florence, he was a three-time All-Region player, as well as the South Florence Best Pitcher Award winner as a junior and a senior, and was South Florence Baseball Most Valuable Player as a senior, and participated in the North-South All-Star Game. In American Legion Baseball, he helped his team to a 30-3 record, finishing as state runners-up in 1999. His combined high school and Legion record was 39 wins, 4 losses, and 2 saves. After high school, this inductee attended Gardner-Webb University, pitching for the Bulldogs as they reached the NCAA Division II Championship Tournament. The following year, he transferred to Francis Marion University, pitching for the Patriots from 2000 to 2003, where his leadership and versatility allowed him to lead the Patriots twice in strikeout-to-walk percentage and compile a career 16-6 one-loss record with 2 saves. His soft-spoken leadership by example and his toughness and competitive nature helped the Patriots advance to the 2003 NCAA Division II South Atlantic Baseball Regional. Ladies and gentlemen, 2024 Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Bubba Strickland.
I think Malliciah had this up in the air. Bear with me, people. Good evening. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here this evening. Among the inductees, the current ones and those from the past, there's so many great names and a lot of great stories and a lot of great history in this region when it comes to athletics. I want to thank the board, the sponsors, everyone that made tonight, what it is. I know it's a ton of work to be able to pull this off. I want to thank my family for their sacrifice, time, and resources so many years. For me, there's no doubt that in my backyard, I probably threw 10 times more pitches than I ever threw on a baseball field. And my dad was probably the one catching all of those pretty much and telling me that last one was 92 miles an hour, and really it was probably 86 miles an hour. But gave me something to work toward, right? Just want to, another thing I noticed looking at all my stats is that there's nothing in here for hitting. And I'm a little bit disappointed by that. Truth is, I was over a 500 average as far as the hitter goes. Whenever a pitcher hung a breaking pitch or they threw something on the inner half of the plate. My problem was anything on the outside corner or breaking pitch down and away, I probably was a 100 hitter. So when you average those out, I was an average hitter, and that's why you didn't see anything in there. Unlike Derek Urquhart, he's a little different than that, so great hitter. But just a lot of great memories, just, walking through this whole process when I heard that I was going to have a chance to be here and be inducted, and a lot of great coaches, great teammates, great players, a lot of folks from, the city, like Rocky coming up and making sure everybody's doing what they need to be doing. Just so many, just great memories, and I love to compete. I always have. I love winning. In anybody that's competitive, they do. But you also have to learn how to lose, and then make sure that you keep the right mindset the next time you have the opportunity to be able to do it again. So that's one of the biggest things. Baseball also taught me over the years that you got to put we over I, because no matter what I've ever done, I've never done it without a team. And so that's really the key thing, and I use that today in my life, and I'll use it until the good Lord calls me home. Thankful for so many blessings. After baseball, my wife and son, that's two of the biggest ones. I should be careful talking about them, because then you won't be able to understand anything I'm saying in here. But I do thank him for everything, and in all honesty, he deserves all the praise. So thank you for being here, and thank you for this opportunity. Such a blessing. And certainly appreciate it, and being along some of the great names associated with this whole program. So I appreciate it.
Florence Athletic Hall of Fame President Robbie Bridgers has our closing comments.
I'd like to congratulate all deserving Hall of Fame members. You are an outstanding group of leaders for our future inductees to follow. As I call your name, if you would, I'm going to ask you to come up here and get your plaque, and then go back over here to, we're going to take some more pictures of you before you leave. And whenever I call your name, you're going to get one more round of applause. So yeah, do applause for them. Coach Kevin Allen, Coach Billy Andrews, Akeem Bostick, Malliciah Goodman, and Bubba Strickland. And I want to welcome all of y'all to the Chick-fil-A Florence Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations. There's a few people we need to thank tonight. As the board, on behalf of the board, we'd like to thank our MC, Coach Bob Wilson. None of us are professional speakers, by the way, up here, except for Coach Wilson. He seems to be very good at what he does, and we appreciate it, Coach. Our guest speaker, Eugene Brooks. Go Braves. Thanks for coming. Porter Stewart for our invocation. Thank you, Porter. Porter's been with us a number of years, and we appreciate that, as well as all of our presenters this evening. I want a special thanks to David Taylor for the video that he does, and this video will be available on our website, so if you want to watch it again, he does an excellent job. And thank you, David. I also want to thank Event Photos for our photography this evening. We'd like to invite everybody that's here this evening to visit our Wall of Fame. It's located on the second floor here at the Florence Center. Probably not this evening. They've got the monster trucks next door. However, next time you're here, do go and visit the Wall of Fame. We also need your input. As Rocky was saying earlier this evening, there's some applications up here. if you know someone that you think that's worthy for the Hall of Fame, please come up, fill out an application, and get it to one of us. Also, if you'd like to be a sponsor in continuing with the success of his Hall of Fame, again, we'd love to have you join us. Would like to thank the Belk and Nettles families for being here. Thank y'all for allowing us to recognize y'all's parents. They were a great part of the athletic community here in Florence. And next year, our Hall of Fame banquet will be here again. It'll be January the 4th of 2025, and I look forward to seeing everyone here next year. Thank you very much.
That closes our ceremony, our program tonight. Good night, and please drive carefully.